Welcome to SLTC. Located in Trace City, Colombo for postgraduate students. And Paducah for all other undergraduate programs. SLTC, where dreams become reality. Nestled on a serene 35-acre campus, our university offers a peaceful haven for over 2,500 students to thrive academically and grow as complete, all-round individuals in all aspects of life as responsible citizens. Our campus is not just a place to study, but a place to live. We have a tight-knit student community with a hostel capacity that boasts 800 dorm rooms. Spread out across the campus are 2 canteens which are open all through the day, all coming together to provide students a vibrant, supportive community. We groom our graduates to make a positive impact on society, and we're proud to be ranked 2nd among non-state universities in Sri Lanka and 14th overall. With a remarkable 15:1 student-to-lecturer ratio, personalized attention is at the core of our teaching philosophy. Our majority PhD qualified lecturers bring real-world experience into the classroom, ensuring students learn not just from books, but from the wisdom of professionals. At SLTC, our commitment to excellence is evident across all our faculties. The Faculty of Business Management equips future leaders with the skills to excel in the global market. Our Faculty of Engineering fosters innovation and practical problem-solving skills, preparing students to tackle the challenges of tomorrow. The Faculty of Science lays down robust foundations, honing the curiosity and the thirst for answers in their journey across scientific inquiry and discovery. The Faculty of Computing and IT empowers students to become pioneers in these rapidly evolving fields. At SLTC, our dedicated Faculty of Technology is at the heart of our modern world. University life at SLTC isn't just about textbooks and lecturers either. We offer a vibrant calendar of events, from exhilarating concerts, theater, gatherings, and engaging clubs, to competitive sports activities. We have a long list of talented students who have even achieved national recognition in multiple sports disciplines. We understand that navigating university life can be challenging. That's why our dedicated non-academic teams and supportive staff are available to assist you every step of the way. From academic advisors to career counselors, we are here to ensure your success. You want to achieve it. At SLTC, we also open doors for our students into the international market with transfer options to prestigious foreign universities, ensuring they have every opportunity to pursue their academic journey on a global scale. SLTC, join us and forge your path to a brighter future. Your journey begins here.
So, a very good evening and a warm welcome for today's webinar for all of you. And I hope that all of you are doing great today. And we are so much delighted that to have you all with a today program that we explore the opportunities and experiences that await you at the Sri Lanka Technology Campus. As you all might know that the Sri Lanka Technology Campus, widely known as SLTC, has been one of the topmost and leading private institutions in Sri Lanka, which is recognized by the Ministry of Education, Ministry of Higher Education, and as well as the vocational education. And also, without any further more delay, we'll just move on to our first and the main session today. And this is the high time, and it's my great honor to introduce and welcome Dr. Nikolai Gurusinghe, Senior Lecturer and the Head of the Department of Electronics and Electrical Engineering, Faculty of Engineering at SLTC. So, when we talk about Dr. Nikolai, he is a respected academic who has contributed significantly to the advancement of education and research at SLTC. And his dedication and expertise continue to inspire our students and enrich our academic community. So please join us in warmly welcoming Dr. Nikolai Gurusinghe. And the floor is yours, Dr. Now.
Right. Thank you for the introduction. Right. After my stay at Northwest University in South Africa as a research fellow, where I was engaged in research on power converters for mining electric vehicles. Their mining scene is a big thing in South Africa for gold mines and coal mines. The university was closely working with them. And then I was attached to uh, the Queen's University in Belfast for 2 years researching on redox flow batteries. So all these years, the experience that I got was on energy for the grid and using renewable energy, using energy overall to make life more comfortable for uh, general public and making the utility electricity more reliable and environmentally friendly. So, fittingly, the topic today is on renewable energy and how green is renewable energy. So, I know the crowd that I'm talking to is school leavers who are looking at degree options and who are looking at SLTC as an option. So, to start off with, let me introduce the department and why we do this presentation. So, coming from the background of the department, the university, as the university slogan runs, we are closely the faculty is closely engaged in research activities. So we take it very serious, the inputs that we give to our students through the research work that we do. So the faculty that we bring into the school and bring into each department, we closely pick them, choose them to looking at their qualifications and experience to make sure that the faculty that join us have that industry exposure or they have that track record of publication and working in the industry, doing things in the industry. So rather than having just a degree, we want people who are doing real engineering. Why? Because we want to make engineers, we need engineers to make engineers. If we do not know engineering, engineering is not just going through a subject matter, it's a way of thinking. It's a way of looking at things. It's a way of addressing problems. It's a way of talking. It's a way of approaching things. So that you need to be trained to do, and to train that you need trainers who are professional in doing that. So to do that, we have closely selected people. So this series of webinars is also devised in such a way to show you that we bring the knowledge that is out there in the industry, out there in the research field, into the classroom, and even the school leavers as first year, second year, third year undergraduate students, you all can engage and you all can be professionals, work as professionals while you do your undergraduate studies. So Sachin, I think the presentation is ready now. Uh, so until Sachin bring the presentation, I think it is the first one with the blue background. Uh, First presentation, presentation one, I guess. Yes, go to the second slide, please. Thank you. Right. So this is our topic for today. Now we are going to talk about renewable energy and why renewable energy. So in the bigger picture, why we need energy, first of all, let's look at why we need energy. Now, when it comes to the hot topic of energy, the thing that comes to our mind is electricity. Why electricity? Because most of our utilities run out of electricity. Electricity is such a useful form of energy. So we can use electricity for anything. We can use it for the air conditioner. We can use it to run our internet. We can use it to run our electric cooker at home. We can use it even for transportation in our electric vehicle. But wait a minute, is that all the energy that we consume as a country, as a human world, is that the only energy that we consider? If you consider a equatorial country like Sri Lanka, we consume loads of energy as the form of crude oil for transportation. We burn crude oil to energize our factories. We burn coal to energize our factories. We burn firewood to produce heat in our factories. But in Western countries where temperature is a problem, they use a lot of coal, firewood, LNG, also to and thermal oil to generate heat during the winter seasons. Luckily, we do not have problems with that. But if you look at the total energy mix of the country, electricity is just a small contributor. Even in Sri Lanka, the majority of the energy bill is contributed by the industry and then the transportation. Electricity is close to about 15%. So just making electricity renewable does not solve the overall country's problem of energy. So let's go to the next slide, Sachinder. So in the next slide, we talk about electricity system in specific. So this is little technique. Let me explain this using a simple example. Managing the grid, managing the electricity grid is like you have a demand of your houses lighting electricity, using electricity, and your factories switching on the motors and the plants, and they need electricity. That is your demand. And on the other side, you have your suppliers. When the solar is there, your solar farms give energy. When the water is there, your hydro plants can store and generate electricity. And when required, your coal plants, your LNG plants, your thermic oil plants would generate energy according to a plan. But job of the grid controller is to make sure the supply is equal to the demand. So what happens when in the morning all the plants switch on their power and all the big motors starts rotating, your demand increase so that at the same rate your supply has also need has a need to increase the rate. So this rapid change in the system of the supply and also the demand, when the sun goes down, the solar plants the would decrease their power generation, so the generation would go down. So to match these two, you need different types of sources. Now let me explain why different types of sources. It's like running a race. The supply and the demand is like you are running behind a, let's say, a motor car that keeps on, it's the demand that keeps on varying its speed. Your task is like an army, a platoon that is running behind that motor car. So when the motor car accelerate faster, let's say in your platoon of your army, you have 800-meter runners, you have sprinters, you have 200-meter runners, you have marathon runners. If the car makes a sudden acceleration, who would you put to catch the car? Would you put the marathon runner or would you put the 100-meter sprinter? You would put the 100-meter sprinter. So the 100-meter sprinter would quickly run and catch the motor car. But when it is slowly pacing, when the car is slowly going at a steady pace, would you burn your sprinter or would you use your marathon runner? It would be the marathon runner who would be catching the pace of the motor car and running it. Now, when you take the example of Sri Lanka, the problem that we have is most probably we have loads of marathon runners like coal power plants, hydropower plants, and they are not capable of acting to sudden changes. So the grid services are at different time scales. You need those quick sprints, you need those uh, energy bursts of minutes, seconds, milliseconds, and also hours. So you need a different energy mix. That's why you need different plants. You need coal plants, you need hydro plants, you need stored energy. That mix is important, but as a country, the responsibility is identifying the proper mix that we need. So keep that example in mind, catching the motor car with different kinds of runners. You have sprinters, you have 400-meter runners, 800-meter runners, and marathon runners. Sri Lanka is a little bit like a group of marathon runners trying to do the sprinting. So when we are trying to sprint with marathon runners fail. That's what happened to Norochole. That's what happened to our thermal plants. Right, Sachin, let's move to the next slide. So in the next slide, it is the drive to renewable energy. As all of you know, why renewable energy? Because renewable energy is nice. It is from unending sources of wind or solar or energy from the waves. You can use that energy. But there is also something important to make it sustainable. That is, if you want to keep on harnessing the energy, in the next slide, Sachinda, can you please go to the next slide? So here we talk about the overall picture, that is from the mind of getting rare earth for your solar panels, getting the materials for your wind power plant generator, up to the point where your generator is scrapped and that is recycled. If you look at the complete picture, the amount of energy that we have to put into manufacturing the renewable energy sources, that can be a solar plant, that can be a wind generator, that can be anything renewable. the amount of energy that goes into manufacturing them, the rare earths that we have to use, and the cost of recycling. Because we have to consider the whole thing for it to be sustainable. You cannot just cut trees and say it is good timber. We need to make sure that we can grow that tree again and have a sustainable supply. So that is important. So if you look at all the renewable sources that we see, we have a problem. So shall we go to the next slide, please? So in the next slide, we talk about the complete overall life cycle is important, where the the term green, if a renewable energy can be called green only if we can claim that it is carbon neutral. So what is carbon neutral? Let me give a simple example. Carbon neutral means not carbon zero. It is not emitting zero carbon, but whatever the carbon that we emit during part of the life cycle can be cancelled out at another part of this life cycle. Let me give an example. Let's say you have a sustainable forest. You grow, let's say, pine trees. From those pine trees, you supply your factories that burn firewood. From the burned firewood, you emit carbon dioxide, and your sustainable forests absorb those carbon dioxide. So effectively, you neutralize your carbon. It's not zero carbon, you are emitting carbon, but you absorb this carbon inside the cycle of the if your supply is sustainable. So this is the target for a really green renewable energy. I'm not saying everybody has to use uh, keep on burning sustainable for firewood taken from sustainable forests, but that is a practical solution for a country like Sri Lanka, which is I think close to about 60% of our energy for the industries is sourced that way, but the sustainability is the problem. So Sachinda, let's go to the next cycle, slide. In the next slide, I have given a simple example for you all to think about this. Let's consider a very efficient car that you have. Like, consider the example of a sports car. A very efficient sports car would hit a thermal efficiency of around 20%. So, out of crude oil, you can only get 20% of energy as movement. Whereas, even if you put that same crude oil into a 1960s old power plant, you can generate electricity at about an efficiency of around 60%. Electricity can be transmitted around 90% of efficiency, and the modern electric cars are over 80% efficient even at their worst performance. So, what is more efficient? Is running a best internal combustion engine car is more efficient than running a even the lowest performing electric car. With this logic, even a lowest performing electric car would be uh, better, even if the energy comes from a 1916 thermal plant. But we can do better. How we can do better is in the next slide. Sachin, if you go to the next slide, in the next slide, we talk about the policies. This is what we require. It's not just the technology, but we need the policies also to come. The carbon pricing mechanisms that are there in the cities, zero carbon policies, electric vehicle import tax reductions, all those things, like the drive that you get from the countries, from the authorities on minimizing environmental impact on sustainable policies to make sure that the new investments on factories meet such requirements. So by doing those changes, so as engineers, we are responsible for policy development as well, because policymakers cannot be just the lawyers because they don't understand the technology. We engineers should be able to tell this is what is required. So let's make the policies together for a country to develop. So that is important. The changes in policy that would help the people to move into the correct way of using energy. So if we go to the next slide, Sachin, the please. So what would be the ultimate solution? Ultimate solution in making the grids greener and cleaner would be using as much as sustainable sources that is either zero carbon or carbon neutral uh, in generating the electricity and using highly efficient sources. In that way, electric cars are important, which is a good selection, which is a good choice going forward. But together with electric cars, we need to change the infrastructure. We cannot just say by burning coal, burning thermal oil, if we run electric cars, we are saving the planet. Yes, we are doing something, but we can do better. So, what are the other things that we can do? Now, this is talking about the total energy mix of transportation, of factories, and everything. The core thing is you are absorbing that energy, absorbing that carbon dioxide. So, if you go to the last slide, that summarizes the things that the grid can do, such in the last slide, please. So, these are some of the things that from the grid side what people can do, the policies, and also the role of the electrical engineer. From the grid side, what are the changes? From the consumer side, what are the changes? From the policy, what are the changes? Those are the things that can do, and it is not uh, 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 one recipe fits all solution. We need more educated engineers. We need more educated electrical engineers as policymakers to help change the policies, to help the governments make informed decisions, because from context to context, this would change. The factories, energy usage is different in Sri Lanka compared to India. Our cultures are different in homes compared to India or to Japan. The energy usage in the country, the patterns are different to other countries. And the economy is different. We are unique. The global placement is unique. And then the investment, foreign investment coming into Sri Lanka is a different thing. Getting that attraction is also a different ball game. So it's not one solution fits all, but we need to have a future generation of people who see these things as responsibilities for the country and take it serious. And that's why we are here at SLTC, uh, helping students, helping our next generation to think about these things. Yes, you can learn electrical engineering, you would learn renewable energy, but the aim of these courses are for you to think the bigger picture beyond what you see in the classroom. And you will be taught the modules required, the energy law, the sustainable policies, the technologies related to renewable energy, the power electronics, the grid control, the power systems, the electric machines. But it is that mental change of your perspective, how you look at electrical engineering and how you look at renewable energy and green. I think the take home message, if you go to the last slide, the take home message is green is just a buzzword, and making energy green is our responsibility, and the future generation has to be aware of that, and the policies has to change, and we need to support to make sure that our country is environmentally friendly and we don't pollute the future, so we save our planet for the future generations. So thank you very much. And if you have any questions, I'll be very happy to answer if I know the answers. Sorry, the technical difficulty took extra 10 minutes. I think there was one question in the chat box, something came up. Even though renewable energy is good in long run, but there are few concerns have been raised by people as solar panels are only sustainable if there's main power, the base load, wind turbine blades are removed after a certain period of time to establish green power source. It has been mentioned that their infrastructure will need massive amount of power, which makes it hard for third world countries. The listener, we have been informed that the fossil fuel supply is only available when now it is mentioned. If so, apart from the environmental harm from fossil fuel, isn't it? It will be the best way to get electricity. Yes, that is true. Uh, Going for renewable sources would be a good way, but again, the answer is not what is the source. Answer is the overall energy mix and the overall solution, because when you talk about renewable energy, you have to talk about batteries, you have to talk about stored energy. So when you are talking about all these things, you have to think about manufacturing, getting the rare earth material up to recycling, the bigger picture. I'll give you an example. Uh, in Sri Lanka, we are when we bring in electric vehicles, we are not thinking about the end of life usage of the batteries. But for example, countries like New Zealand, the electric vehicles or the hybrid vehicles coming there are expensive because the end of life batteries from New Zealand are sent to France, to a facility in France to be recycled. So they count in the cost for that recycling to make sure that their country stays unpolluted, for their economy to sustain from agriculture, from their farming. Uh, Now in Sri Lanka, we have started importing electric vehicles, and big time we are bringing in batteries into Sri Lanka. Sooner or later, we will be piling up the second life batteries. So we need to think about that. I'm not saying we are too late, we have missed the bus, but we need to start thinking about that. Now we have enough electric vehicles coming into the country, so the supporting industries can start now. The investments can come in, and people can think about businesses around that, how to recycle the batteries, how to make sure that all these heavy metals doesn't go into the soil of Sri Lanka, and that doesn't harm the cultivation in the country. So it's the bigger picture. It's not just rupees and cents. As I heard, we are not using energy made from hydro plants 100% in daytime. Is it true? Oh, yes, that is 100% true. It is not always uh, daytime. Is it true? Do we have solution for that? Now, this is the thing. Hydro power is only available up to a certain percentage out of the total in electricity energy mix in the country. So even out of that, we have rain in a certain period of time of the year. So from that amount, we have a problem of evaporation, and water will be evaporated, and that we have to accept. And out of that, from the remaining, we will be generating electricity, but generating electricity mostly for base load, and part of it from some places like Samanala, we will be keeping that for frequency response. As I told, the sprinting power that we require for different services like that, we will be keeping that energy. So uh, what always the energy mix is looking at, the grid controller is looking at making energy at the cheapest, at the least expensive manner with the least expensive mix. So at times it can be going 100% coal. It might be at times uh, going with whatever the power we can generate from hydro, but if the base load cannot be covered, there's no other way than getting sustainable supply from coal, because it is extremely expensive to ramping up or ramping down, right? So it is like killing that marathon runner if we are going to increase or decrease that marathon runner. So proper planning is required, and given the changes that happens and the nature of the local grid in Sri Lanka with development happening, we need to expand the grid and we need to have the mix of different athletes with different capabilities. Just relying on base load from Norochole itself might not be. So one can argue then another coal plant would be the solution. So people can say, environmentalists can say, oh, coal is a no, it is killing the environment. But why no for a extremely efficient modern coal plant? So which is even run in countries like Japan. So there's always arguments on either side, but it has to be the brave choice and it has to be the correct choice uh, for the situation of the country. What kind of supply side management can be what kind of supply side management can be incorporated in Sri Lanka to optimally manage the independent power producers other than storage mechanism? Other than storage, supply side management, so there are different techniques that are being used even now. Uh, but here also, it is the kind of understanding the consumers that we have and the consumer needs. So, consumer behaviors, because it is not one solution fits all. So, whatever that we do, the schemes that we have for managing the supply side and giving incentives to the customers for scheduling their power usage, giving incentives to the customers to converting into renewable energy and shifting their base loads and shaving their peak loads, peak power. All that has to be planned and compensated in a way that suits the local customer base. It should not be copycat solutions from uh, even countries that are equal to Sri Lanka. We can learn from the other countries, but it has to be tailor-made solutions to the local. Then why not consider nuclear power? Uh, that's also a solution. It's not a no, but it's a bigger discussion, because nuclear power again has safety, again has long term uh, environmental impact that has to be managed, and that can be managed at a, certain cost. So always it comes down to a cost, but it is not always the cost, but the opportunity cost as well. When are we going to move into nuclear energy? How much energy are we going to bring in from nuclear energy? If we are looking at the in power generation plan of Sri Lanka in 2050, because the country is developing, the country's grid is expanding, and we need to think about that. When considering implementation, solar panels are over cost than traditional way of getting energy. What kind of research is going on to reduce this problem? If I understand the question, this is about efficiency of solar panels. So usually the panels that we use, uh, on average, we will be talking about 500, 600. The top quality ones, we will be hitting about 7, 800 watts per a standard 2 by 1 panel. But the problem comes in with their suitability for the local conditions that we have in Sri Lanka. So the degradation, the rate of degradation and the maintenance. So there will be different factors. It's not just the cost of the panel or the uh, amount of power that we can draw. It is always, the equation is always uh, how much time, how much does it cost, and how much we can harness out of it. So always, it's not the single solution, but it's the bigger picture. It's the bigger picture, always the bigger picture, and it would be a nice way rather than as engineers thinking about electricity only, because electricity is just a small contributor for the overall energy mix in the country. Think big, think big of the total energy mix, total energy for the country, because we are talking about energy. Energy is energy. If we can run a engine out of fire, from firewood or from other sources, making it efficient, why not? So that's a question. That's a question that we have to think as the next generation. Uh, if you are so stuck, our development is so stuck at a certain point because uh, we need that grid connection to the Industry Lanka through the Industry Lanka link. That might be also an option. Right, I think I'm running out of time, but it was an interesting discussion. Thank you, all the uh, people in the audience for your questions and the uh, interesting comments. So over to the moderator. Thank you, and I'm very sorry for the technical delay that we had in the beginning.
No issues, Doctor. Anyways, thank you so much, Doctor, for that wonderful and eye-catching speech. And we got a lot of queries and a lot of, lot of clarifications that were asked by the comment section. So we are just very much happy about it. Anyways, thank you so much, Doctor, once again for clearly mentioning all those, responses patiently. Thank you so much, Doctor.